Tonight we're going to talk about the editing and format functions of Google Slides. So let's start with our first one. So undo and redo. So these are really simple functions. I'm just going to quickly type something in here so we have something to undo. All right, so I typed in the word 10. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it, and then when I go up to the top where there is a backwards arrow, it says undo. If I click on this, it will remove what I just did, and if I want it back, I can click the arrow next to it. There is one thing I want you to notice though, is underneath the arrow you see that it says what it is. It says undo, but then it also gives you the hotkey, which is Control plus Z. So I can press Control Z instead of highlighting it, and it will undo it by itself. And then if I want to redo it, Control plus Y to put it back. So that's just a nice quick function. Now the same thing, you can do the same thing with cut, copy, and paste. So for example, I have to click on an item to cut it, so I'm going to click on this G right here, and then I'm going to go back up to edit, and I'm going to click on cut. When I click on cut, it deletes my G. I'm going to put it back quickly by pressing Control Z to undo my action, and now I'm going to use the keyboard function, which is Control X. Control X also will cut that item out. But I'm going to redo it because I want it there. Okay, awesome. Now the next function that we have available is copy. So for example, again, you have to have something selected. I'm going to select this G, and then I'm going to go to edit and then press copy. Now you may notice it looks like nothing has happened, but what has actually happened is the image that is here has been copied to your clipboard, and you have to hit paste in order to see that actually happen. So now we have two G's. Again, I can Control Z and get it back to 1. Now to use those functions, again, I'm going to go up here and I can take a look at what they are. Control C is copy, Control V is paste. So I'm going to click on my G, press Control C, that copies it, and if I press Control V, now I have another G. All right, so that is the copy paste functions. Now I want to show you where these hotkeys are because there's quite a few of them. If you go over to Help and then click on Keyboard Shortcuts, it actually gives you a list of all the different shortcuts that you can use or hotkeys that you can use in the program. Now, some programs have different shortcuts, and some of them are really similar. Like for example, when working in like Word and things like that, some of these are identical. Control B is bold, Control I is italic, Control U is underlined. Those are all the same. But one of the things that I've noticed with using Google Slides is that some of these have changed only slightly. So say for example, right here under paragraph formatting, we have left aligned text and right aligned text where it's Control plus Shift plus L. In Word, it's just Control L. So all they did was add this extra shift in here. So if you're trying to use your functions that you already have memorized from Word, just add shift in there underneath your paragraph formatting, and you should be able to use the same functions. So in case you're getting confused. All right, thanks so much. Now that you know where you can find all of these functions, it can really speed up how you type and how you work on a document or project, because once you have some of these memorized, it can really help you to finish your project much more quickly and be less frustrated with the results that you're trying to get. Next, we're talking about pasting without formatting. So, for example, if you have something like a table and you want the information from the table, but you don't want the whole table, then, for example, instead of copying, like Control C, I press Control C. When I go to paste this, and now Control V, and it's given me the entire table, so the names with the dates inside boxes. But I don't want their names inside boxes. So say, for example, instead of doing this, I would go up to Edit, and I would click Paste without formatting. When I do this, it gives me their names and the dates, but there's no boxes within them. Ta-da! All right, awesome. Let's go on to select all, delete, and duplicate. All right, so say for example, I want to select all of this text. You can just click on the function in here, select all, but that might not be exactly what you wanted to select. It selected every single slide. I don't want to select every single slide. Maybe, for example, I only want to select the names that are in this particular slide. So you could highlight all of them, and then you've selected them all. But you could also just click inside the slide and press Control A. Control A allows you to select a certain item or a certain thing. Now, depending on what you click, you might click something else. So, for example, here, I'm inside another text box. When I press Control A, it just gives me what's in this text box. If I, for example, click on the slide and then press Control A, I get the entire slide. So it's dependent on where you click and what it is that you're clicking to select all. Okay. Now, say, for example, we want to delete. I could go back to this slide, click on it, and then go up to Edit and press Delete. Now, if I do that, because the slide is selected, it will delete the entire slide. Okay. If I don't want to delete the entire slide, I could select what it is that I want to delete, and then it will delete it. But then again, there's also the trick that many people use where when you highlight it, you just click backspace, and that will delete. Or you can use, if you happen to have a delete key, highlight all and then press your delete key. So there's many different ways to delete things as well, or even whole items. All right, so let's take a look at duplicate. Let's click on this slide. Say, for example, I want this whole slide duplicated. I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to click Duplicate. Now this gives me the same exact information in the first slide as the second slide. But you can actually still use the Control C function to do the same exact thing. Say, for example, I click on this slide and I press Control C. That copies the entire slide. And when I press Control V, it also pastes the same slide. So it's the same exact function. Control D is to duplicate. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at find and replace. Ooh, this is fun. All right. So say, for example, you want to find and replace all of the E's in your document with another letter. for whatever reason. So we will Control A, copy this everything or select everything. And now I'm going to go to Find and Replace. Find E, replace with I. Now, when I press replace all, it's going to take all of those letter E's and replace them with I's. So, it's definitely helpful if you have, like, say, for example, a word that you've used repetitively, and maybe you want to replace that word with a different word so it doesn't sound the same. But again, Control Z returns everything to normal. So I'm going to press Control Z because I don't want all my E's to be I's. Okay. Now, let's see. I think we finished all of the edit functions. Yep. So now we're moving on to all of the formatting functions. So let's first go over and select all of our text, because the next thing under format is bold. So either I can click on B to make it bold, or I can press Control B, and that will either undo the bold or redo the bold. So Control B, the first time you click it will make it bold, the second time will undo it, depending on if it's already been done. All right, going back to format, then we have italic. This will italicize your case. And again, the same function, Control I, will unitalicize or re-italicize, depending on how you use it. Then I've got underline. For that, it is Control U, or you can just click on it. So Control U, again, will undo or redo the same function. Next, we have Strikethrough. This will cross out anything that you've done. This is not one that I use often, so I do not have this hotkey memorized. So I'm going to have to click on it instead. Okay. And in fact, I'm going to undo the underlining here. All right. Next, I'm going to go back to format, and we're going to take a look at Superscript. So say, for example, let me Control Z. Say, for example, I wanted to, let's go back down to our list here. And I'm going to copy and paste our list. But maybe I want Lizzie to be first. And I'm writing 1ST. If I want my ST to go up top, and to use Superscript, I'm going to highlight my ST, and then I'm going to go up to Format, and then I'm going to go to Superscript, and that's going to put my ST up at the top. This also is what you would use for exponents. So say, for example, if you wanted to put like x squared or something like that, you just put an X and a 2, and then highlight your 2, go to Format, and then go to Text, and then Superscript. There is also a Subscript. So say, for example, you're doing a footer or something like that, and you need to notate or put references in. You could change this to, say, for example, to putting it below in a small subscript like this at the bottom instead. So you have Superscript and Subscript. Okay. Let's see. The next thing we have size and color. Okay. So, yay. So I'm going to highlight everything, and I'm going to go and pick increase size. There's a bunch of different ways you can do this in this program. You could do it directly from the menu right here. You could go up to the top, and where it says font size, you could change the size here by picking a number, okay? Or you could use these increase, decrease pluses and minuses, or you could even use the hotkey, which is a Control, Shift, and plus. So if I have all of these things highlighted, Control, Shift, and plus will is actually making it smaller, which I believe is making my screen bigger instead of my actual. Oh my gosh. And then Control Shift minus will bring it back. So that's actually a hotkey for making your screen big and small as well. So that one's kind of tricky because Control Shift and plus, it says in here, allows you to increase the font size, but it's also a hotkey for increasing your screen size. So I can see how that could be problematic, especially if you don't particularly have these things highlighted. So Control Shift plus, yeah, again, see, it's using zoom instead of actually using it for the program, which is really kind of funny because it's written in here that should increase the text size, but it doesn't, or at least not in this case. So that is pretty funny. And this is where that's happening. It's zooming from the actual app, not it's not increasing the text size. So that's pretty funny. We did size. Next we're gonna do color, I believe. Format. Yep. All right. Color. So I can change the color of my text just by clicking on whatever. But say, for example, I want to change my text specific colors. Maybe I want it to match what is here on this Google logo. So say, for example, I click on the color and then I hit custom. I can steal the color from something else and then highlight and go to another one, steal that color. So if you're looking to customize something and make it look like something else, then you can. All right. That's called the color picker, by the way. It also has, or in most programs, it'll have a bunch of numbers and letters which are designated, which is called the hex code, but it's the designated numbers and letters which create the color, and you can change that in some apps, but I see here, oh, here it is. So that's how you get to hex code. You hit that little plus button. So say, for example, if I like changed one of these like numbers, that's going to change my color somehow. So yeah, see, like I changed it to some yellowy and then to pink. So it just gives you an idea of how it's used. But say you wanted a really specific color and you wanted to take it from somewhere else, you could use this hex code to get a really specific color. Okay. We did color. Let's take a look. We did color. Highlight color. So see how right now I have a gray highlight. going over my letters, I could change that to another color, like blue, which that looks really terrible. So you can change whatever color you'd like to use with highlights, or choose not to use it. Let's see, our next choice is capitalization. Oh, so you can, say for example, you're doing a paper or something like that and you need everything in title case. You could literally click on this and everything will be in title case. The only rule it doesn't seem to follow is that it's making and uppercase, which isn't actually correct in title case, but so be aware of that. Also, you could do all uppercases, and then of course you can return it to lowercase, and if you want it to go back to normal, Control Z 3 times. Alright, there we go. Let's see what we have next. We need to select something to format. So, Align and Indent. So right now everything is to the left, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit center. Okay. The key for this, the hotkey, is Control, Shift, and E. That will center it. It doesn't undo when you click on it. If you have it all highlighted, if you press it a second time, Control, Shift, E, it won't bring it back to left. So you actually have to either use the keys Control, Shift, L, or click on it to return it. So not all the functions can be used one after the other like you can with bold. Like if you press Control B one time and then it emboldens it, and then if you press it a second time it'll get rid of it. You can't do that with Align for whatever reason. Indents. Alright, so say for example I don't want this 2 here. Maybe I want that 2 to be indented for whatever reason. I can increase my indent by going here, and we're using this hotkey, but again, this is not something I would use very often, so I would probably be using the indent. And as you notice, because I have it in list, when I press indent, it actually goes to the next list level. Okay. Alright. I do think, though, I think if you have a list item highlighted and you press Shift and Tab, it should go back to the correct number. Yeah, it does. So if you want your indent to go backwards, you can press Shift and Tab, and that will bring the indent backwards. Okay. Let's see. Then we have aligning. You can align things to the top, middle, or bottom. So say for example, I want this in the middle. We'll do it with this. Align indent will go to middle, and then it will bring it to the middle of the slide. All right, let's go back up to format and see what else we can do. Looks like we have done all of those. The next functions we're going to be talking about are spacing. So if I go up into format, and I can click on single space, and that will bring all of these closer together. And then there's different sizes of spacing, and you can, I believe, change these to meet whatever specification you would wish them to meet if you go down to custom spacing. When you open this list, you can change the number here. And then you can put the point size either before or after to apply it just by putting in some numbers. Bullets and numbering. Okay, so right now I have everything set up into a list with numbers and letters by level, which is like the basic outline. But there are other outline levels that you can change it to just by clicking on it. You can change it to letters. So it's very simple. I can change these all to bullets if I want to change them all to bullets. And there's even levels of bullets. So when you go to this list, you can see that the bullets actually change by level. You can also have options where you do very specific bullets. So say, for example, I want my first bullet. See how it's selected all of them? I just want to select one. And then I go to Format and Bullets and Numbering List Options. And I can change that one bullet to one thing. So maybe I want that one to be a number 1. And then maybe I want to change this to something else entirely. So again, make sure you only have one of the bullets selected before you go to your list option, and then you can change it to whatever you want. And I do believe that you can designate what you want that to be. Like, for example, I think, yeah, see where it says down below, it says more bullets? You can use Unicode characters. So there are a bunch of them. So you could designate pretty much, oh my god, there's even emojis. Wild. So you could put pretty much whatever you wanted. I mean, it might be pretty fun to go through this list to see what it is that you can actually stick in there. But just to give you an idea that these things change. Ooh, there's Braille. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to show that to somebody. But anyways, there is all kinds of crazy things in here. Musical, yay! Oh my gosh, so cool. Byzantine. Oh my god. So there's some wild stuff in there, and symbols I probably would never use. But it just at least also gives you an idea how, like, for example, if you needed a character or a specific character or something, then you would be able to possibly find that character depending on what, you know, where it is in terms of Unicode and if it's actually here. Like, here we go, Southeast Asian scripts. So yeah, so like if you're looking for, I'm not sure if it's like Tamil or something, but Balinese letters. So I mean, you could find a very individual letter if you were editing a document, say for example in another language. You'll probably be able to find the character that you're looking for. So that is an awesome function of using these Unicode symbols. All right. Awesome. Let's see what other options we have here. So we've done all of the bullets and numbering. I'd like to return our list back to a numbered list though. Excellent. I don't know why that bothers me so much. All right, borders. All right, so we can create a border around the outside of our slide, or it will change because I had this selected. It changed the border of the text box that I'm inside of. So for example, I can change the weight of this box or the weight of the line that's around the box by clicking on these different point sizes, and I can change them. And if I wanted to, say for example I wanted to use a text box as a border, you could stretch this out to fit the level of the slide, so that way you could create a border around the slide. So say for example, we want a thick border, and then maybe we want it to be an entirely different color. Maybe we want that color to match this Google logo. Let's see. Let's click on our border. It's on text color. We want it to be on the border color. This is the border color. So there you go. So now we have it all matching. So there are many different ways that you can, adapt these slides and adapt these different formats to fit the way that you want. All right, let's see what else we have in terms of functions and borders. We took a look at the color. We took a look at the weight. You already know how to use custom color. You can make the border transparent. Say, for example, I don't want to see that text box. Click on that, and now you don't see the text box. It has disappeared. It's still there. It's just not visible. All right. Next, let's take a look at border type: single, double, triple. So I'm guessing that is single. Let's check out what double is. Okay. So say, for example, you want to have two lines here. Let's see what this does if we change the thickness of the line, because I bet that could look a lot better. Yeah, a lot more clear when we change the thickness of the line. So now you can really see that double border. Let's see, there's a triple too? Yep, triple. And then you have your triple border. So you could create a bunch of different border types just from using that. And then look at that, you even have, looking up at this menu here, you could even change these two dots. You could mess around with these functions to make it look however you wanted, or to create different looking borders. Let's take a look at, yeah, here are the dashes and dots and things. Then we even have border decorations, where you can, you know what, let's change this back to a line, because I bet that's why it hasn't changed. Border type, single, triple. Let's go back to a line. And now let's go to decoration round joint. Okay, yeah, so made the end round. Or miter joint. Oh yeah, see, it made it like square. Yeah, so it looks like you can do quite a bit with these different border choices. Yeah. All right, so that's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do quite so much with these choices. But anyways, you could play along with these to make them interesting. Arrowhead. Not sure what that means. Okay, coming back because it took me a little while to figure out what it meant by arrowhead size. So I went through a bunch of different functions. I went through bullets and numbering. I went through all of the Unicode and tried some different arrows and some of the bullet functions. And this arrowhead size, it actually refers to something inside of line. So if you go to line and then you go to an arrow and you actually create an arrow, you can change the head size of this arrow by going to format. but that's how you do it, is by changing it here, which is a little wild, because it's kind of like completely in a random place. Now I wonder if I change the line weight. Yeah, awesome. If you change the line weight, that'll make your arrow totally different size. So then I'm imagining if I go to my arrowhead size and now I change it to small, awesome. Well, there you go. That's how you do arrowheads. Had no idea. That was a new one for me. All right, awesome. So let's see. The next thing we have is formatting options. And that's on this side of the bar on the right-hand side. There are a number of different things. Like, say, for example, right now, the thing that I have highlighted is my text box. So this would change the size of my text box. I can lock the aspect ratio so this doesn't change, so I don't accidentally screw it up. I can flip its angle, not that I want to, or maybe even if I want it upside down. But there's quite a few different functions here that I can play with. I can change the positioning, although this doesn't seem to put this in the center. Maybe it just centers it. And then these are the X and Y axis. So say, for example, this is moving it to the right. This is moving it to the left. So say you needed a really specific number for whatever reason, or you needed it at a certain centimeter, then you could do that technically. You've got text fitting, indentations left and right, special the first line hanging. So say, for example, I want this line to hang, or change its position. I can do that here. Next, you have some options for text, asking it to either not to autofit, shrink text on overflow, which means, like, if you, for example, if I started typing and added more lines here, la 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 la, it's just gonna make the text smaller and smaller so that it stays fitting inside of the box, basically. Okay. Resize shape to fit text. Okay. Padding. I believe this is like how much space. Yeah, it's kind of like your margin in between your text box here. There we go. Drop shadow. This is for your text. You can actually change the color of your drop shadow. Ooh. That's interesting. So that is something you can do. You can change the opacity of the text. I'm making it darker. Or you could get rid of that shadow by changing the opacity to 0. You can change the angle at which the shadow is. So if you're watching, you can see that by me moving up the angle, it moves where the shadow is occurring on the page. Okay. The distance is like how far it is away from the letter. So as I increase it, you can see that the shadow goes really far from the text. So you can create some interesting effects here if you really wanted to. But I think it looks better when it's a lot closer. And then the blur radius is like the distance, again, from the text, but it's kind of like a distance around the letter. So you can get a good idea of what that means just by playing with this slider. Reflection. So this is going to give us a reflection of all of our text underneath, backwards, that we definitely don't want. But there's also some numbers. some sliders here that you can change. So you can change the opacity of that so it's, you know, the reflection is lighter, or so that the distance is farther away or closer together. And then the size of this as well, so that you don't see that reflection as much, that it's barely occurring. So there's a bit that you can actually do with text here, in terms of like word art, even without using word art. And then if you want to add alternative text, that's actually something you add to pictures. So say, for example, if you have a screen reader, somebody can't read what this is. They're not going to know what this image is. The screen reader won't say what it is. So what you do is you write Google logo. So somebody who's blind will know what that is. When the screen reader is reading through it, they'll go, oh, there's a Google logo right here. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So that's what that is, in case you're wondering what alt text is. It's for images. All right. Advanced options. Yeah, you can even add a title to that. So I could put a title to that. I don't have to put a description. The title would even tell you the same thing, or I could describe even further what the Google image looks like, to really go wild and share that it's 4 different colors and something like that. So I think those are all of our format options, and I think at this point we are pretty much done with everything. The only thing that we didn't do is I didn't show you how to clear formatting. And so say, for example, I don't want to have these, all of this crazy stuff here that I've added in. There is one simple way to clear all of it, and I can go down here and hit clear formatting. Sometimes this picture is sometimes on the toolbar. But when you click that, it will get rid of all the extra junk that I did to it, or almost all of it. It looks like it kept a couple of things. It kept my drop shadow because it's highlighted here, and it kept the numbering. So it didn't completely clear my formatting. I was hoping if I clicked it again, it would get rid of all of it. So it looks like it'll clear select formatting. All right. That is pretty much it for editing and formatting functions of Google Slides. I hope that you learned something interesting today, and that this helps you get some things done. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.